Good morning, Digit fam. Adam Dowd here with a rundown of the big news that came from the world of tech yesterday. And was there a bigger story than Apple? There's a lot to unpack here, so this might be a long one. Microwave up some popcorn and settle in, because it is September 11th, 2019, and this is your Digit Daily. Okay, so wow would probably be an appropriate word to use from yesterday. Not because of the phones. The phones were pretty much garden variety iPhones by this point. There was nothing particularly shocking or stunning about the phones themselves. Yes, iPhone Pros have a triple camera setup. Yes, the quick take feature where you hold down the camera shutter button to switch to video is pretty neat, and I think it'll probably become the default way to take video fairly soon. And when Apple started talking about the Bionic 13 chip and the billions of transistors, boy, did my eyes glaze over. I quickly fell into smile and nod mode. Oh, 8 billion transistors, you say? Oh, yeah, that's very nice.
Nerd alert!
But yesterday, Apple announced more than just 3 new iPhones, an Apple Watch, a new iPad, and a couple of new services. Apple made a much bigger announcement, and it took almost 2 hours for the whole message to get out. Ladies and gentlemen, Apple's big announcement was that it suddenly cares about being competitive. Because up until now, Apple was all like, listen here, we're gonna price our products wherever the hell we want, and people will buy them because we're Apple, and that's what people do. But then a strange thing happened. People didn't. And the first stirrings of this came when Apple stopped announcing sales numbers. Then there came a dramatic shift from hardware to services, and now Apple realizes that if it continues to price itself out of the market, bad things are going to happen. And it all started with Apple TV Plus. $5 per month, cutting in half every prediction we saw leading up to the event. Still, only launching with 5 shows, but they promised to release more shows every month, which is great. Plus, they're giving away Apple TV Plus for free for a full year with the purchase of any iPhone, or iPad, or MacBook, and suddenly things are becoming clear, because last November, Hulu had a deal where you could get it for 99 cents per month for a year. My family got it, under the assumption that we'll cancel it this coming November. Well, guess who has 2 thumbs and is keeping Hulu this December? This guy. Yeah, that really doesn't work as well without video. Plus, and this is where things are going to get a little confusing, but the iPhone 11, which is the replacement for the iPhone XR last year, is coming out at $700, which is $50 less than last year. What? Plus, this isn't the cheap iPhone anymore. This is the iPhone. The iPhone Pro and Pro Max are the upgrades. This is no longer the downgrade. So in a world where Samsung phones and LG phones and the everything else phones start at $900 or $1,000, the iPhone starts at $700. Just let that sink in for a minute. And Apple's TV service costs less than Disney Plus's ridiculously low $6 per month. Now, remember that little thing called the Apple tax? Yeah, that's not really a thing anymore. Yes, you can still get Android phones for less that do basically everything the iPhone Pro Max can do. And yes, you can get Android phones for basically half the cost that can do everything the iPhone 11 can do. But make no mistake, the iPhone 11 is a flagship phone by any measurable standard, and it's only $700. Am I saying that Apple is better than Android? No. But I am saying that all of a sudden Apple realizes it needs to compete with Android, and by Android I mean Samsung. And that is going to make the next few years very interesting to watch. Except in the world of smartwatches. There, Apple still makes you pay a king's ransom. The newest Apple Watch starts at $400 and goes up to $500 for the LTE connected smartwatch. And in the world of smartwatches, that's an insane price point. That's 5/7 of a new iPhone. It's true that the Apple Watch does pack in a lot of great and life-saving tech into it, but please people, $400 is just way too much. And this is just my hot take on the whole thing. If you want facts and juicy details, our newsletter has you covered on that end, so check it out, or better yet, subscribe to the newsletter just like you subscribe to this podcast, link in the show notes. But for now, let's see what else is happening around the world of tech in our Roundup! We've talked about the TCL Plex, which is TCL's first smartphone under its own brand name. TCL also owns some other brands you may have heard of: Alcatel, BlackBerry, and Palm. But this is the first TCL branded smartphone, and Android Authority asked, why? TCL said that the time was right for TCL to release its own brand, but never really said why. Now, it's true that TCL has been making a big push into Western markets in the TV space, quickly becoming known as the high-value brand, which is another way of saying cheap, but good. But that doesn't necessarily translate to smartphones, so I have to wonder what the thinking here is. If I worked on an Alcatel product, I'd start updating my resume. Just in case. Android Authority has a roundup of the best smart displays out there, including a brand new review on the Google Nest Hub Max, which is a terrible name, but a great piece of hardware. My house is filled to the brim with smart devices, so if the FBI ever wants to know what's going on in my house, they can just ask Google, but I've never had a smart screen device before. As it happens, I'm expecting a Lenovo Smart Display in the next couple of weeks, so I'll be sure to tell you all about it. I'm fairly geeked about it myself, even if my wife is less enthusiastic. But getting back to the iPhone, people are claiming that all the lenses on the back of the iPhone are triggering their trypophobia, which is a fear of holes. Except that's crap, because this is not the first phone to have 3 big cameras on the back. It's not even the first this month. It's barely the first phone this week. But Gizmodo, the gadget blog that writes about all electronics, decided to hop on the iPhone gravy train and write this hilarious piece about all those holes on the back of the iPhone. Yuck, yuck, Gizmodo. Now, can you get back to literally knowing anything about technology, please? You may know about Razer phones and Razer laptops, but Razer also has a line of mobile accessories, and in this case, specifically, cases. It has released a new line of cases designed to keep the iPhone cool while gaming, which is a little ironic when you think about it. But the funny part about this is, from a nerdy math perspective anyway, is when the Razer spokesman said, quote, "The Razer Arctech case maintained temperatures of up to 6 degrees Celsius, or 42.8 degrees Fahrenheit, lower than the companion case." Now, you might hear that and think it makes sense. 6 degrees Celsius is the same as 42.8 degrees Fahrenheit on a thermometer, which is to say that the difference between 6 degrees and 0 degrees Celsius is the same as the difference between 42.8 degrees and 0 degrees Fahrenheit. But that's only true when speaking relative to 0 degrees. In this case, we're talking about something being 6 degrees cooler than something else. So like 14 degrees rather than 20 degrees. And in Fahrenheit, that is not a 42-degree swing. It's closer to 10 degrees, which is still significant, but it's not the difference between swimming suits and a winter coat. Math is hard.
Nerd alert!
And finally, a Redditor asked the question, could you live for 50 years in an abandoned Walmart? And the consensus seems to be, if you have electricity, then yeah. But if you don't, you're kind of screwed. But I think the real question that needs to be asked here is, why? So that's going to do it for today's Digit Daily. If you'd like to learn more about any of these stories, check out the links in the show notes and subscribe to our daily newsletter on Digit.com. And if you like what you heard, subscribe, leave a review, and don't forget to tell your friends about DigitDailyPod.com. Once again, I'm Adam Dowd, Dead Technology on Twitter, and we'll talk again tomorrow.